I never tried to be Ronnie. I never wore a cowboy hat. I never went barefooted. But I just wanted to be Johnny. And I love writing songs.
Johnny Van Zant stood on stage, the lights dimming behind him as the opening chords of Free Bird filled the air. He closed his eyes, gripped the microphone, and sang the very words his brother Ronnie had once sung nearly half a century ago. The audience fell into reverent silence. Some lifted their hands, others wiped away tears, not out of regret, but from something deeper, the ache of a farewell that never truly ended. How do you follow in the footsteps of a legend, especially when you carry the weight of that loss? How do you raise your voice to sing songs that once belonged to a brother who died too young, when every lyric is soaked in unspeakable sorrow? For Johnny, the answer didn't lie in fame, streaming numbers, or applause. It lay in the simple fact that he was still standing, still singing, still keeping the music alive as if Ronnie were still there. The youngest of the Van Zant brothers, Johnny was born into a family where Southern rock wasn't just music, it was a legacy. Ronnie was the trailblazer, the founding voice of Lynyrd Skynyrd. But when a tragic plane crash in 1977 took Ronnie's life, Johnny, only 17 at the time, entered a long, quiet season of grief before eventually stepping forward to carry the torch. It was a promise to his family, to fans, and to the South itself. Born on February 27, 1960, in Jacksonville, Florida, Johnny grew up in a working-class household where the rhythms of country, gospel, and rock echoed from his father's truck radio and lingered in the family kitchen. His father, Lacey, a stern World War II veteran turned truck driver, and his mother, Marion, a warm, faithful woman, raised their sons with discipline, pride, and a deep respect for music. While Ronnie and middle brother Donnie found early success in Lynyrd Skynyrd and .38 Special, Johnny remained the quiet observer, the drummer at heart, watching rehearsals from the sidelines, tapping rhythms on countertops. Though he never imagined he'd become a singer, music flowed through him as naturally as breath. As a teen, he started his own band, not to chase stardom, but to live in the music like his brothers. But tragedy struck on October 20, 1977. Ronnie's plane went down in Mississippi, killing him and 2 other band members. Johnny, pulling weeds with his father when the call came, felt his world shift in an instant. In the years that followed, he didn't dive straight into fame. Instead, he played in bars, worked local jobs, and formed the Johnny Van Zant Band. His 1980 debut No More Dirty Deals didn't dominate the charts, but critics heard the raw grief in his voice. Songs like Only the Strong Survive and Stand Your Ground reflected a man still healing, less swagger than Skynyrd, more soul-searching. Throughout the 1980s, Johnny continued to record, releasing Round 2, 1981, The Last of the Wild Ones, 1982, and Van Zant, 1985. His music was Southern rock stripped of bravado, infused with emotion and brotherly ghosts. Though his solo career never reached commercial heights, he found purpose. Then in 1987, nearly a decade after the crash, the surviving members of Lynyrd Skynyrd planned a tribute tour. They needed someone not just to sing the notes, but to carry the spirit. Johnny, once determined never to replace Ronnie, realized he didn't have to. He simply had to be himself. That year, Johnny walked on stage not as Ronnie's clone, but as Ronnie's brother, giving voice to songs that never said goodbye. It was a moment that reshaped his life. Critics were skeptical. Fans were divided. But Johnny sang with reverence, not replication. Slowly, the crowd softened, then joined him. The reunion turned into a revival. Over the next 3 decades, Johnny led Lynyrd Skynyrd through albums like The Last Rebel, 1993, God and Guns, 2009, and Last of a Dying Breed, 2012. Though the mainstream spotlight faded, Johnny kept the fire alive. His 1990 solo song Brickyard Road, written for Ronnie, soared to #1 on the rock charts. Its heartfelt chorus, Say Hello to Dad and Mom / Tell Them I'm Okay, felt like a message sent from earth to heaven. Johnny also joined brother Donnie in the Project Van Zant, blending country and rock in albums like Brother to Brother, 1998, and Get Right with a Man, 2005, with the single Help Somebody charting on Billboard. Johnny's success was never about numbers. It was about heart. He became the bridge between past and present, grief and healing. In a world where rock often feels like a fading echo, Johnny Van Zant remains its keeper, not through spectacle, but through humility. Off stage, he lives simply in Jacksonville with his family, far from Hollywood and headlines. He's not a celebrity chasing clicks. He's a man still singing for his brother, for his roots, and for the fans who've never stopped believing in Free Bird. Florida, the place where Johnny Van Zant was born, raised, and never wanted to leave, has always remained his anchor. For over 3 decades as the lead voice of Lynyrd Skynyrd, he has stayed out of scandals, shunned tabloid headlines, and refused to chase fame. That was a conscious decision, a quiet promise to himself that no amount of spotlight would ever eclipse who he truly was. Johnny married young, and his private life has remained just that, private. His wife, a woman outside the glare of public life, has been his steady refuge after long stretches on the road. Together, they raised 3 children, and his youngest daughter, Taylor Van Zant, shares a deep connection with him, both in life and in music. Fans who've seen Johnny perform know the quiet beauty of the moment when, at the end of Simple Man, he turns and gently waves backstage, often toward Taylor. But that calm was shaken in September 2024, when Johnny canceled all Lynyrd Skynyrd tour dates after learning Taylor had been diagnosed with cavernoma, a rare brain condition that can lead to seizures, strokes, or worse. Though the tumor was benign, the news was devastating for a father who had already lost his brother Ronnie in a plane crash decades earlier. For the first time, Johnny let his guard down on social media, writing, "I've lost too many people in my life. This time I can't take another. Please pray for my daughter." Thousands of fans responded with support, and Johnny was reminded that while music connects us, truth binds us even deeper. This wasn't his first health-related trial. In 2006, Johnny underwent emergency surgery for a ruptured appendix, forcing show cancellations. In 2011, he battled a serious post-surgical infection requiring 4 antibiotics. Still, he never complained. Never quit. He remained the devoted father, the quiet husband, and the younger brother who never stopped mourning Ronnie, not as a mythic figure, but as a loved one who never came home. Too often, Johnny is remembered as the replacement, the man who stood where Ronnie once did. But that framing misses the deeper truth. Johnny didn't replace, he preserved. Through his quiet perseverance and heartfelt performance, he built a legacy all his own. For over 3 decades, he held the mic for Lynyrd Skynyrd not by imitating Ronnie, but by honoring him. He brought to Skynyrd a raw Southern tone and a steady sincerity born from tragedy, helping the band not only survive but carry Southern rock into a new era. Alongside his brother Donnie, Johnny created the Van Zant Project, blending country and Southern rock with albums like Brother to Brother, 1998, and Get Right with a Man, 2005. The hit, Help Somebody, captured their family creed: be kind, help others, even when no one is watching. Johnny never chased trends or headlines. He chose the long road, the grounded path, and that's why fans saw him as the final flame bearer, the one who stood firm when others faded. In 2025, at 66, when most artists retire, Johnny remains on stage, singing Simple Man and Free Bird like lifelines to a time, a brother, and a band that shaped generations. After Taylor's diagnosis, he canceled all tours to care for her, emerging months later for a powerful return, a 50th anniversary tour of Lynyrd Skynyrd. That tour included a legendary night at the Ryman Auditorium, America's mother church of country music, captured on the album celebrating 50 years, Live at the Ryman, released in mid-2025. It was the final performance of founding guitarist Gary Rossington, who passed away shortly after. For Johnny, that night was more than a concert, it was a farewell. In an April 2025 interview, he said, "I know Gary's somewhere still listening to us play. We don't keep going for ourselves. We do it for the ones who can't anymore." Under his leadership, Lynyrd Skynyrd remains active through 2025, touring the US and Europe, including dates in the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany. But fans don't just come for the music. They come because they know that every time Johnny steps on stage, Skynyrd lives again, not in form, but in spirit. Off stage, Johnny lives a humble life in Jacksonville, not far from where Ronnie once wrote his first songs. He rises early, tends a small garden, shops at local markets, and chats with neighbors like any Southern uncle you've known your whole life. In a podcast, he once said, "I don't need a mansion or a sports car. I need my guitar, the old house, and dinner with my family." He has no personal social media, avoids celebrity events, and continues to walk the same quiet path he always has, without noise, without flash, but never without heart. That's what makes Johnny Van Zant rare. He doesn't just keep the band going. He keeps the symbol alive, through every lyric, every farewell, every moment of silence on stage. He never lived in Ronnie's shadow. He lived to keep that shadow from disappearing. For over 30 years, he never pretended to be a legend. He simply stepped forward, took the mic, and sang the songs that millions once heard from his brother, as a ritual, as a promise, and as a way to keep memory from fading into silence. He didn't follow the rock star blueprint. No scandals. No outbursts. No demand for accolades. Johnny endured with voice alone, sometimes raspy, sometimes breaking under the weight of memory. Every word he sang wasn't just music, it was testimony. From a 17-year-old boy shattered by loss, to a father brought to his knees by his daughter's illness, to an aging artist still standing on the same patch of southern soil where it all began, Johnny Van Zant's legacy isn't marked by Grammys or Hall of Fame inductions. It's found in something harder to measure: the stillness in a room when Free Bird plays, the lump in a throat during Simple Man, the way he bows his head in silence and everyone understands. It's a farewell to someone who never got to say goodbye. Johnny Van Zant is the last living heartbeat of a generation that sang its pain, its pride, and its stories through Southern rock. And he's still singing, not for the spotlight, but for you. For the loss you never said out loud. For the memories you never wanted to let go. And when he sings, you realize, maybe nothing was ever lost. It was just waiting in the music all along.